Welcome back to the pole position. The English local elections are over, and what a result it was! The Labour Party and the Conservatives were decimated in the polls, with Reform UK coming on top, with both council seats and the vote. This election is hailed as the beginning of the end for Britain's two-party system that has existed in its current form since 1919, when the Labour Party first became the official opposition, with the UK being dominated by two parties since the first elections in the country's history. Such a shake-up has stirred a lot of headlines, and for good reason. But what exactly happened? Why did Labour and the Tories do so poorly? And what does the rise of reform mean for the country and the next election? The results show a lot. Reform UK came out on top with 677 council seats, with the Lib Dems in second on 370. The Conservatives came third with 319, whilst Labour came fourth with just 98 seats. Additionally, independent candidates won 89 seats, and the Greens won 79. Reform also won the Lincolnshire and Hull and East Yorkshire mayoral seats, whilst Labour managed to narrowly win Doncaster, North Tyneside and the west of England, whilst the Conservatives gained Cambridgeshire and Peterborough off Labour. Reform won majorities in 10 councils, most of which were Conservative held, but in areas that voted Labour in the last general election. The Lib Dems came second, winning 3 councils in areas they won in the last general election. The Conservatives, meanwhile, lost all of their councils, and Labour lost its only council of Doncaster, all whilst holding the mayoral seat in the same area. There was also the Runcorn and Helsby by-election, that was won by Reform by just 6 votes, with a 17.4% swing from Labour, a devastating blow indeed for a seat that Labour previously held a majority of over 14,000 votes. The projected national vote for this election puts Reform on top with 30% of the vote, with Labour in second place with just 20%. The Lib Dems sit on third with 17%, and the Tories sit on fourth with just 15%. This is the worst result for both Labour and the Conservatives in decades, and many are hailing this as the end of the two-party system. But is this trend sustainable? Anything is possible in the world of politics, and this is not the first time a party has managed to overcome the two-party system, with the biggest example being Labour, which went from no seats in Parliament to forming a minority government in just 24 years. Reform's rise has been even more rapid, but in order to sustain this, a number of things need to happen. The first is that the government would need to see its unpopularity sustain itself for the next 4 years, which is entirely possible, but not certain, as there is enough time for Labour to recover, as the election is still 4 years away. The second thing that would need to happen is for Reform to maintain party unity, as factionalism often damages the electoral chances of any party, and as a party gets larger, the more voices emerge vying for influence within. The third thing that would need to happen is that they would need to keep the other opposition parties at bay. Reform are facing off against 3 other major parties, and they would need to avoid being outflanked by the Conservatives or the Lib Dems in particular. I'm not saying any of this will or won't happen, as I would hesitate to make any predictions before the next election, but if Reform wishes to win an election, they will face an uphill battle, and both Labour and the Conservatives still have time to recover before the next election. And we could see an election result that looks wildly different from the vote we have seen. Reform now has a much firmer lead over Labour in the polls, and there is no current sign that this is going to change. But it is always important to note that things can change very quickly, as we've seen in Canada. This is, however, a very bad sign for the Labour Party, and they will need to make serious changes if they wish to stay in power for another term. Anything is possible, and I'll be right here to cover it all, so be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. As always, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.